Whittaker Weekly is a 3-episode anime discussion podcast where two brothers discuss a show of their choice. The show can be anything from a current season flop to a decades-old classic. What are they going to talk about next? Who knows? They sure don't. I'm Andrew.
I'm Lee.
And this is Whittaker Weekly. Let's get right into it. Sorry, it's been a couple of weeks. Sorry. Last week I was out traveling like we thought, so we weren't able to record. And then we're actually recording this a day later because I had a work function last night that got in the way of our recording. But anyway, a lot of news has happened, but we didn't really want to go ahead and just spend a lot of time covering the past couple weeks of news. But this came in my email just the other day. And there's a great company out there by the name of Humble Bundle.
Yes.
And you can get a whole lot of great indie games for real cheap by donating, and you get to pay what you want. Well, I just got this in an email from them, and I want to go ahead and announce it. Humble Bundle has announced the Humble Manga Bundle Fantasy by Kodansha Comics.
Right.
Depending on what you get, if you pay at least $1, you get the first 3 volumes of a manga called Drifting Dragons. And I read the first chapter on Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
For some reason, Crunchyroll is missing most of volume 1 and 2. It's like chapter 1 and then chapter 23. So I have no idea. So I haven't read any more.
Yeah.
But if you pay $5 or more, you get the first 5 volumes of Clockwork Planet, Land of the Illustrious, the first 4 volumes of Flying Witch. But the things that I'm really excited about is that at the $15 tier, you get the first 4 volumes of Cells at Work, which is adorable.
Yes.
And then you've got the $18 level, the tier. But if you do $20 or more, not only do you get everything before that, you get the first 4 volumes of That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime.
Now these volumes are of manga?
These are volumes of manga. These are not chapters. They're digital.
No, yeah.
So, but it's the first 4 volumes.
Yeah, usually a volume consists of 6 chapters.
Yeah, or
manga. Yeah,
depends on the size of the chapter.
Sure.
To Your Eternity, the first 7 volumes. Mushishi, the first 10 volumes.
Wow.
And then Alita Battle Angel, the first 3 volumes. So, I'm getting paid on Tuesday, and I know what I'm going to go ahead and be picking up, because that is a fantastic collection of things that I cannot wait to read.
Fantastic.
There's also Fire Force at the $15 level. Fire Force is a follow-up manga for not really a follow-up manga, but it's made by the same guy who did I'm forgetting the name of the show. Well, I guess he did the manga and then it became a show. Soul Eater.
Soul Eater. Okay. Okay.
Yep. I mean, you can kind of see right there on the right, guy in the firefighting suit.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's his art style, definitely.
So. Okay. So what is that? Is that just a shonen slice of life about a kid who wants to be a firefighter?
No, it's a shonen battle. I don't know if it's shonen battle, but if you take a look at his feet, you can see flames actually coming off of his feet.
It's true. He's in firefighter regalia.
He is a firefighter.
But he fights fire with fire?
Yes. There are demons that will sometimes just possess people and explode and destroy everything around them. And so there's a special type of fighter out there that is bred to fight them, pretty much. And he's one of them. Okay. I remember reading it online back when it was being fan translated. I know there's still some sites out there that have it, that are fan translating it, but the one that I frequent, they dropped it. It moves real fast. I was really surprised how quickly it moved. Okay. Anyway, that's the news that I wanted to share. Let's go ahead and get right into the show then, shall we?
Yeah.
All right, and I guess it was my. I guess I'm just going to keep talking, aren't I? Because it was my week to pick.
Yeah, this time it was your week to pick. Yeah, I didn't. I browsed through some news articles to try to find something interesting to talk about, and a lot of what I stumbled upon is just what we do is just reviews for anime that came out. I mean, we're heavy into the new season, the winter.
Yeah, we're 3-4 weeks in, depending on the shows you're watching.
Into the winter season, so a lot of Anime News Network, a lot of Crunchyroll articles are about people reviewing the things that have come that are currently airing right now. So it's kind of a slow news week this week.
And
one bit I saw that I thought was kind of dull is that some American company thinks that they trademarked the name Battle Angel and are trying to sue Fox for making Battle Angel an adaptation. But there's some toy company in Florida is trying to sue Fox, but they don't know it'll be an interesting little tiff because they copyrighted their name in 2009, but Battle Angel Alita was first published in 1994. So
yeah,
so they won't really have a leg to stand on. I don't think.
Really don't. Anyway, yeah.
But yeah, I don't even want to link to that because this is such a dumb story.
Well, that comes out in February, doesn't it? Doesn't it? The movie.
Yeah, I think it does.
I'm gonna go see that. Okay. So anyways, this week for 3 episodes in, and it actually was like for a rarity for me, you know. It was actually 25-minute episodes instead of the 13-minute episode ones. So you only watched the first 3. Anyways, this is Karakai Jouzo no Takagi-san. Takagi. There we go. Takagi-san. I swear I'm going to tease and embarrass Takagi-san today. Nishikata, a middle schooler, keeps getting teased by the girl who sits next to him in class. Takagi-san. He tries every day to get back at her, but will he ever succeed? Takagi-san and Nishikata's youthful teasing battle starts now. All right.
Okay.
Where shall we begin?
All right. So this series has a format, kind of like what was it? But both Asobase and Asobi Asobase and Daily Life of High School Boys, where an episode is actually 3 or 4 shorts that are all just compiled into an episode. There isn't really a strong through line, and they actually do break it up and give titles to each of the shorts.
They do, but at the same time, the shorts are at least connected in this one, I noticed. Whereas in Asobi Asobase and the Daily Life of High School Boys, not so much. It's just more random things.
It could happen more randomly. This one does seem to have a bit more chronological feel to it, but it is still serialized.
Yeah.
In that regard.
Yes. And it starts off with him folding these papers together, giggling to himself, as a very, very scary, burly man is teaching English.
Yes, the first few lines of dialogue are in English, spoken by a...
very thick Japanese accent of English,
yes.
Yep.
So they're in an English class.
Yeah, so they're in English class, and he's trying to fold things, to kind of fold up this paper.
Those of you who are old enough to know this, there were these little strips of paper that are on the side of printer paper that is dot matrix type printers. They had specialty rolls with holes in them that would feed the paper through the printer as it was printing. And this is something that Andrew and I used to do back in the day because printers had those and there were just extra things lying around, so we could. So this isn't new, but the fact but he had to have cut his own or something to make that work out for him. Or do you know if Japan just happened to have thin strips of paper for given reasons, or did he maybe?
I assume he cut them himself.
Yeah.
I assume he cut them himself. But he's folding 2 strips of paper on top of each other over and over and over again to try to create a spring of paper.
Yes, what it is these little strips of paper that zigzag at 90-degree angles from each other. So the folding creates that does create a spring.
But what happened? I got distracted during the first part of this by my cat. But his plan is foiled.
He's got a little box, and he's planning on building a Jack-in-the-Box with this, and he's trying to keep it a secret from the girl sitting next to him.
From Takagi-san.
From Takagi-san.
Sitting right next to him, who's pretty cute. Like, she's a pretty cute girl.
Yeah.
For being, I guess, are they? I think they're first years, so they're both, that would make them 13-ish. 13, 14, something like that. Anyway, so he's doing this, and then she spoils it for him. I didn't catch how.
Okay, so what she does is she then takes her pencil box, and she starts pretending that she can't open it, and she
does something first that gets him riled up, and then she has the pencil box. I saw the pencil box thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember what it. Anyways, I guess that doesn't matter. But you're right. Yeah, she's got this pencil box, and she's just like, it's stuck. I can't open it. I can't get my pencils.
It must have dented when I dropped it or something.
Yeah. Here, will you hold it? Like, here, can you open it for me? And he's like, yeah, sure. Wait, this is opened super easy, as he says to himself, as the exact same thing he was planning on doing to her, she did to him faster.
Yes.
By having a Jack-in-the-Box with, like, a crazy dog face or a fox face or something.
Some fox demon thing. A fox demon, drawing of a fox demon cut out and put on this thing and just popped out and goes right into him, and he yelps. And I think it's at that point that a piece of chalk from the teacher goes flying across the room and hits him in the head.
Yeah.
Which is a running gag in this particular clip, is that she's getting him in trouble with the teacher over and over and over again.
And she just starts laughing over and over and over again. Like, she pushes her face down. Like, they are sitting in the back corner of the classroom.
Yes.
The perfect spot, apparently, for kids to talk to each other and not get caught by the teacher, even though... Anyway.
Yeah, it's the same two spots that Seki-kun and the white-haired girl in Tonari no Seki-kun sit in. It's a recurring theme.
What apparently is her name?
I don't remember. It's she's the point of view character, but we barely even mention her name.
Yeah.
I mean, I started reading the manga that you sent my way.
Yeah.
And there's some hilarious bits in there.
I'm gonna have to read it when I get the chance. But I do know there's a couple of episodes where there's the girl that's convinced that
that they're an item.
That they're an item, and I think we learn her name from that girl's POV. But she was only in a couple of bits in the show. Anyway, let's stop getting distracted. Let's go ahead and go back. Anyway, so next they're talking about their erasers, and she says to him, they say gum. Which is like it's a special type of, not really a special type of eraser, that's just what they call it in Japan, a gum.
He's plotting something against her.
He's plotting something against her, and she just throws him off by asking for his eraser because she forgot hers.
Yes.
And he's like, oh, sure. And he hands her his eraser.
And the thing he tries to do is he tries to get under her skin by calling her an airhead, and it never works.
Ever.
And it's a running thing. The best he can do, the best insult he can come up with, oh, you're a bit of a ditz, aren't you? You're a bit of an airhead. And she doesn't even care. And she's so on top of her game when it comes to teasing that the fact that he said it and the way she responds already gets him a little bit, oh, did I go too far? And she doesn't even care.
Yeah, he's extremely self-conscious about how he interacts with this girl, which we all were at some point.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so she borrows his eraser and she uses it, and then she whispers something to him that was apparently a childhood fantasy or not a fantasy, a childhood. The words that comes to mind are like old wives' tale or folk legend or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just an omen or something like that, where if you write the name of the person you love on an eraser, and you keep that eraser until it's completely used up, and you use it all up, then you will fall. Then
the person will return your feelings for you.
Yes, and so she pulls his eraser out to see if he's written anybody's name on it.
And she says, did you write anyone's name on it? And he's like, what? No, of course not. That's a super childish thing to do. Why would I do that? And she goes, oh, okay.
And so she looks at it, and she spends too much time looking.
She then pulls it out. And he's like, wait, did I?
Because in Japan, these erasers are in little boxes that, and so that's what she pulls it out of the box that it comes in.
So she pulls it out of that box, and he starts, and she's like, oh, ooh, type thing, and he's just like, wait, no, did it? No, I didn't write anything. Wait, no, did I write something? I wrote something in someone's name and I forgot, didn't I? Oh no! Oh no!
Did somebody else write it?
No.
She's got him all worked up as she's doing nothing but looking at this eraser.
She's got him hook, line, and sinker. But finally he's like, give me back my eraser, and she hands it back to him, and he looks on both sides and there's nothing, and she just starts laughing again.
Just because of the reaction she got out of him. And then
she has to go to the bathroom.
She gets up, and with the producer's permission, she gets up and goes out of the bathroom, and he sees that she did have her eraser. It's there on the desk right now. And so he decides he's going to open it up and see what's written on it, and see if there's anything there. And so he does, and he grabs it, and the first letter
he grabs it, and he's just like, wait, no, this is private. He has this super internal struggle about, I can't do this. This is terrible. Why would I do this? This is horrible.
His hands are jittering. He's not sure what to do.
And finally, he pulls up he convinces himself, I'll just look at the first letter. And he pulls it up, and there's the symbol for do.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? That's not my name. And he's just so immensely crushed.
Yeah, he's like, why would I think that my name would be there?
He's like, why did I think my name was going to be there? Yeah.
And eventually, he works up the nerve to pull it out the rest of the way, and it reads, look into the hallway.
Look into the hallway, and he turns and he sees her.
And she's just staring at him, giggling.
And she's just giggling again, and he freaks out again and gets in trouble again.
Yeah.
Well, and then she comes back in and she's like, yeah, I mean, it's your own fault. I mean, really, you had a 50-50 chance. And he's like,
50-50 chance? What? And then we find out that she, in the other side of the eraser, also had something written on it.
The kanji for Nishi, which is the first part of his name.
We don't see if there's more written. We just see the first part.
She pulls it up a little bit for the audience to see, but not him. But it's the kanji for Nishi. Which is the first part of his name. And it's pretty obvious throughout the show that she likes him.
Yeah.
But she also loves teasing him. But it never comes across as mean teasing. No. It's always very, very lighthearted, and there's various levels of teasing. There's mean, cold-hearted, dirty, down dirty stuff, whereas hers isn't. Her stuff has never been spiteful teasing. It's always just been kind of fun, silly teasing.
Yes.
So, but it's very obvious.
And it doesn't even take her that much effort to get under his skin, because he's just so nervous all the time.
Well, and finally he gets so upset and that he puts his head down on his desk and he refuses to look up or do anything. And
now the reason that happens was he got called on all of a sudden to read something out in English class. And she whispers to him, 16. And he says, 16. He gets another piece of chalk thrown in his head. This is English, not math.
What she was saying...
She's like, no, line 16. You were supposed to read line 16.
He wanted you to translate line 16. But he doesn't take it the right way. He thinks that she just did it to mock him. Like, why didn't you tell me in a more clear way? Type thing. And finally he just kind of puts his head down and refuses to look up at all. Yep. And finally, after a little bit of time, he turns over and he sees her looking directly at him as she's laying her head down on the table as well. And she just says, finally, you turned and looked at me. Here, let's have a staring contest. 1, 2, 3. Oh, no. Yes. That's when I think that happens later. The staring contest thing happens later, because that's after the funny face thing.
It's because this is so episodic.
It doesn't matter. Anyways.
There's lots of little things that happen throughout the show.
But anyway, it's obvious to the viewer that she likes him. And one of the things that I also caught, that I think the normal viewer will catch as well, that one of the reasons she's able to tease him so well is because she's always watching him. She's always watching him. And it's because she has the biggest crush on him. But she also enjoys mercilessly teasing him. So
she loves a blush on his face, and she loves the reaction that she loves watching the reaction of how he reacts when he's teased, when he's embarrassed, when things are out of his control. She just she thinks he's so cute and so adorable that she just can't help herself but to tease him.
So, anyways, let's go ahead and move on. There's other characters as well that we meet. Oh, by the way, I looked up the voice actors for Nishikata and Takagi, and you'll probably get a kick out of this. Nishikata is voiced by Jaji Yuki, the same guy who does Todoroki in My Hero Academia.
That's quite the range he's got then.
And Takagi is voiced by Takahashi Rie, who is the same voice actress as Megumin.
Megumin and Todoroki.
Megumin and Todoroki.
That's makes so much sense, actually.
So
explosion.
So we meet some other girls, and we see these girls in the background sometimes, and they have lines every once in a while. But we also have, kind of in the spirit of
Daily Lives of High School Boys.
Thank you, Daily Lives of High School Boys. I was trying to remember if it was that one or Asobi Asobase.
No.
But they have the Daily Lives of High School Girls every once in a while.
Every once in a while, they cut away to other people.
And so in this one, they do the same thing with these three girls. And these girls, they are Mina, who is she's short, she's energetic, she's got wild hair
and bushy eyebrows.
Sanae, who's always looking tired, and then Yukari is ponytail and glasses.
Is it Yukari or is it?
They say Yukari in one of the episodes.
Okay.
I didn't catch her episode. That was only in episode 3 when they actually said her name.
Right.
So.
No, I'm remembering something else. Never mind. Yeah.
But anyway, so it goes to those girls, and those girls are. I don't want to say they breathe. They breathe fresh air into the show, because I don't feel the show is stale yet. Or the formula is stale, but it's a nice change of pace.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it can get a bit too, monotone if it's always her teasing him and him always failing. But having other dynamics go back and forth throughout, it's kind of nice.
And these girls, I forget what their first adventure is, but you wrote down their second bit. What was their first adventure? Okay, yeah, no. In the middle of episode 2, it was in the middle of episode 2 that just the way they react to each other sometimes, because one of them, one of the three girls, shows up. The two of them are complaining about how hot it is, but they're still wearing their winter uniform. That's the second bit. The first bit is when we meet the girls in episode 1 at some point. I forget what that bit is, but
But that's what I was saying. Is that during episode 2?
Yep. Okay.
That there's a bit where two of the girls are complaining about how hot they are and how miserable it is, and then the other girl shows up in her summer uniform, and it's Mina, who overreacts and just goes off on her for jumping the gun because they were all going to change uniforms on the same day, and. Well, how could you Oh, sorry, I forgot. But the thing is that they were so focused on the situation and just so part of the gag was that before they gave the reaction, they were sitting perfectly still, just glaring at her, and while that was happening, people. The main characters were behind them.
That's what I was gonna say. They are sweating and they're just miserable, and and then
and we see everybody
Nishikata and walks by, and he's wearing his summer uniform.
Yep.
And then we see Takagi walking by, and she's wearing her summer uniform. The only ones who are still wearing their winter uniforms are these girls.
Yes, just the two of these girls.
Yeah.
Cut to the next. So. Mina makes a big deal about it.
And Sanae feels bad.
So the next day, Mina and, what was her name?
Yukari.
Yuzu's the little sister in Bleach. Yukari, and Mina are standing out in the hall enjoying the new summer uniform, and Sanae.
It's so much cooler when we have short sleeves. Yeah, it's so nice.
And Sanae comes in wearing her winter uniform. and sees that the other girls are now, and the same thing happens. They're just standing in the hall, and the same thing happens where other people, they're just glaring at each other while other people walk by. Like,
I thought we were gonna change. I thought we were gonna change on the same day. Oh,
I forgot to tell you.
I forgot to tell you. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I think the first time we're introduced to those girls actually was a piece in the first episode that was the morning cleaning.
Was morning cleaning first episode or
think
second
it was.
episode?
I swear it was the first episode. I mean, we can look up the.
It doesn't matter.
They're in the episode. The episode title. So actually, I was actually thinking about that, writing down the episode title so we could go in order each of the sketches. Didn't do that. But no, in the there's a sketch where in the early morning, what's his name? Nishikata comes to school early, absolutely lamenting the fact I hate having to get up early for class duty, for early morning cleaning duty. And so he gets up there and on his way to school he thinks he sees a 100 yen piece, and he picks it up and then he sees that it's just a
token for an arcade,
and tosses it away. And then, which comes up later. And he gets to school. He looks up and he sees Takagi-san in the classroom looking down at him. And then suddenly she disappears. He comes to the classroom and there's no one there. But he says, "But I can sense her presence." I was just about to start humming. Something's off. And then he sees her shoes with her name on them from under the teacher's desk. So maybe she's crouched under the teacher's desk waiting to spring up to him and spook him when he was about to clean the chalkboard, which was his responsibility that morning, was to clean the chalkboard. So he sees her shoes there, figures that she's going to do that, and then sits down and starts saying out loud, "Oh, I don't think I'm going to do any work today. I think I'm just going to take it easy." And so he's visualizing her getting all super depressed of, "Oh, I wanted to spook." And like, I wish I could see her face like that. Wait, she's smarter than this. Those shoes are a decoy. She's somewhere around here. "I gotta go to the bathroom," he says out loud as he goes to the door, opens it, closes it, and then tries to sneak back into the room to open the broom closet to see to try to spook her. Says, "Ha-ha, gotcha." And she's not in there either. He closes the door, and he checks under there. No, he was right. The shoes are a decoy. She's not there.
Yeah,
either.
not there.
And then he sits back down and doesn't know what to think. When she was behind the curtain next to his chair the whole time.
And she jumps out from behind the curtain to scare him. She's like, "Oh no, the curtains were see-through. I could totally see you the entire time."
And, yeah, but you it's at this moment that you really know that she cares for him, because when she jumps out and spooks him in his hair and he falls back and he hurts himself, she's simultaneously, kind of smiling at the funniness of the situation, but her brows furrow in concern.
Yeah.
She doesn't want him hurt.
She doesn't want to get hurt.
She wants him embarrassed, but she does not want physical harm to come to him. So.
And then we see the girls come in, the other three girls come in one by one.
They sit, before that happens, they're sitting down at their desks, and they're looking at each other, and she's kind of like, "I like this. It's just the two of us. It's like we're the only two people in the world.
Right.
I wish this could last forever." Then they come in.
Well, she says, I wish this could last forever. This is really, really nice. And then he just says, he starts asking, "Hey, is there, by chance, do you like?" And then the girls come in and ruin the mood.
Yeah. Because she's saying things that a romantic interest might say. And so he's not sure if she's teasing him and trying to get him even more flustered by saying these things, or if she actually means it. And right now it's a little bit of both. Is that she does have these feelings. It's clear that she does have these feelings for him, but she's also using the fact that she has those feelings for him to tease him.
So anyway, we so
yeah, that's the first time we meet the girls. I'm pretty sure. So. The other three
could be. Anyway, I don't remember well enough to argue. It still feels a bit off to me. But anyway,
But they have their own thing later. I think.
Mhm.
But I swear that was the first time we meet those three, and that's kind of their introduction. Then we get more involved with them as the show goes on.
I think you might be right about that. Now that I think about it, I think you might be right
Because
because
episode 2 ends.
Because Mina walks in and says, "Good morning," and like she's super full of energy, and then Sanaya's just like, "You're always, how are you like this so early in the morning? What? This is normal? No, it's not."
So true.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, but when I was saying earlier about the token, is that there is another sketch with the three girls, like it's an after credits thing, where Mina finds this what she thinks is 100 yen piece, and stands on it in an awkward pause so that nobody else sees it, and expects the other girls to walk off.
She's telling the girls to stop saying you're so tired, it's going to send away your good vibes type thing, you know? Stop saying you're so tired, it's going to make you unhappy. Whatever. And then she sees the coin, she steps on it, and the two girls notice that she isn't following them, and she's like, "Oh, you go on ahead without me. I'm tired all of a sudden." And then she's like, "Wait, what happened to your good feelings?" No, they're still there. Yeah, it's okay. And they go over, and one of them picks her up perfectly, and the other one finds the coin. She's like, no, that's my 100 yen piece. I found it. It's mine.
Oh, so greedy.
Stop being so greedy. It's an arcade token. And then she's like, my 100 yen piece turned into an arcade token because I said I was tired.
You believe that?
Anyway, so the next episode, it's in the middle of summer.
Yes, it is.
And they they have their first swim class.
Yes, that's just the okay. Swim class. Is that before? No,
I don't think it matters what order it's in.
Okay. No, the swim class is the next thing. Yes.
Mm-hmm. But
and we find out that he's staying out of the pool because his hand's bandaged up and he can't go swimming.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's staying out of the pool in his gym clothes, and she, in her gym clothes, not in a swimsuit, goes to sit next to him. And they start having a conversation.
Yep, they have a conversation, and she very instantly just picks apart his reason for not being in the school, not being in the pool. And she's like, "Well, you have your hand bandaged. I mean, knowing you probably went to go pet a wild cat and it attacked you." Which is apparently exactly what happened.
Which, anytime somebody says that, it just reminds me of Azumanga
But the thing is, she's trying to pet local, normal, domestic cats.
Yes.
But she ends up with the greatest cat in the world. Have you seen all of Azumanga?
I have not seen all of it. I've only seen some clips of it. I've seen a couple episodes.
Have you seen the bit where she's holding a cat and rolling back and forth?
Yes, I've seen that clip.
That's after she has been adopted by a wild cat. They go to an island filled with cats, and one of these cats is I forget what it's called, but it's a special breed of wild cat that doesn't take to people, but it took to her. And this cat, after they leave the island, this cat goes after her, and she ends up having this cat. But the cat has to stay at Chio, I think her name is Chio.
Yeah, she's the little girl with the pigtails.
Yeah, the little girl with pigtails. The cat stays at Chio-chan's place because the reason that she doesn't have a cat yet is because her parents are allergic. So she can't have a cat, but she goes over and she plays with her cat all the time. So it's adorable. Azumanga Daioh is a treasure, and it should be treasured by everybody.
Yes, it is.
Anyway,
I think my favorite bit from that show is the fact that the teacher, like one of the girls, her nickname is Osaka because she's from Osaka, and so they just call her that. And one of the episodes when they're going to new classes, and
beginning of the second year of school.
The second year of school. She doesn't see her name on the board to say which class she's in. And says, "Isn't that it? The teacher wrote my nickname."
And she looks up and it says Osaka. Wait, isn't that you? They used my nickname. The best part about that entire thing is that their teacher, the
teacher
English teacher,
put the entire class, requested the entire class so she doesn't have to learn any new names.
so she doesn't have to learn any new names, except that she did switch a couple of people out because she also wanted to be able to win the sports contest.
Yeah,
she stole the best athletes from the other classes so she could win the sports contest.
She's diabolical. I
love that show so much. I just want to go home and watch it again.
Yeah.
Anyway, before I can do that, we have to finish this.
Yes.
So,
so she's sitting at the pool next to, sitting on a bench in the shade
mm-hmm.
by the pool next to him, and she's already figured out why he's injured, and she's making him guess.
And she's been kind of examining herself and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he's taking it to mean that he's like, oh wait, no, I learned from this one guy who's the master or the king of physiology or whatever. That one of the main reason that girls won't go swimming during swim classes is because they're on their period. And he's like, but I can't say that. That's horrible. That's disgusting. I can't say that. She'll hate me.
Yeah.
Why? No, I can't say that. And then he has another memory of like, oh wait, another reason that a girl, like the guy who's the king of eating his lunch early, or taking an early lunch, he says. He says something that's even worse.
Yes, that girls that age are conscious about the size of their chests,
and they won't go swimming if they have small breasts. Girls with small breasts won't go swimming because they're so self-conscious about it. He's like, I can't say that either. That's even worse. And the entire time she keeps nagging him and not really nagging him, but poking at him. You're running out of time. He's like, you're running out of time.
And so he's going back and forth like, which is it? Because she did hold her stomach for just a moment, so maybe she's
It's either say one of two horrible things or let her win. Yeah. And he can't do any of it. He's just torn. And so finally he just says, it's because you're on your period. And she's just like...
Yeah, after minutes of agonizing over this... Mm-hmm. Just takes forever.
And then she's like, no. And when she gets up and she pulls off her bloomers and her shirt and she's wearing her swimsuit.
Underneath, yeah.
And he's like, wait, what? And then she says, teacher, I've changed my mind. I'm going to go swimming after all. Okay. And she goes up, she puts her hair in a bun, and she says, by the way, I'm not self-conscious about having small boobs either.
Yeah, so it's clearly her body posture was to get him to think those things. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. She's just, but the thing that that never crossed his mind is that the reason she wasn't in the pool is because she wanted to spend time with him.
She wanted to spend time with him.
Now she brushes it off as she wanted to spend time teasing him, which is also true. But she just wanted to spend time with him. That was her reason for not being in the pool, and he would never have guessed.
And then she says, hurry up and heal that hand so we can go swimming together later on. So we can go swimming together. Mm-hmm. And then she gets into the pool, and that's where that bit ends. And then
and he's not sure whether to take that as a romantic invitation or if she's once again planning on teasing him in the pool in some way.
Anyways, we get another bit in the classroom where I think it's the bit where they're making funny faces and stuff like that.
Yes.
And one of his classmates says, like he is in the bathroom and his classmate walks up and says, "Hey, you and Takagi-san are always together. Like, do you like her or something? Or do you like?" And then, oh, hey, he changed the subject. I must have hit the topic right on the nose. So you like her, don't you? Before he can say anything else, like he makes a funny Nishikata. Makes a funny face and makes the guy start laughing. And so he tries to do that funny face to her, and it doesn't work. She starts giving him funny face lessons. And it ends with him getting in trouble again.
It's like, why are you making those funny faces? Because I want to make you laugh. Well, if you want to make me laugh, turn to the left. And he turns to the left, and the teacher's standing there. And the teacher looks at him, and just very, very slightly, and then proceeds to yell at him. What are you doing? And that's the point where she busts
and she just starts laughing. If you want to make me laugh, turn left. But I think...
And this is the scary English teacher who we've established is just absolutely terrifying. He's just looming over him like he looks like an American thug teaching Japanese. Or you know, he's got dark circles around his eyes, kind of like some of the people from Attack on Titan when they've seen too much. Uh-huh.
Anyway, but I want to say it's during that same bit or in another. I don't exactly remember what bit it happens in, but she says, "Why are you always trying to, like, do you like? Why are you always trying to do something to me? Is it because you're always thinking about me?" And he says, "No, and like I never spend time thinking about you. Why would I do that?" And she just goes, "Huh? Because I'm always thinking about you." You know? Or,
Yeah.
and like she says that. I think this may be when they start walking home together. When they start, she's riding her bike and she catches him. And they start walking home together. But she says like because I'm always thinking about you, and then he reacts again and makes her laugh because she loves his reactions. And he so there's that bit. I just really liked how she knows exactly what to say in order to get a rise out of him.
Yes.
Just a massive like she just knows what to say. So and then we have let's see. We have the can.
We have the can throwing contest.
We have the can throwing contest. Before that though,
there's okay. So before the can throwing contest, we actually see there's a bit with the three girls.
I wasn't going to talk about that because it's just the girl drinking coffee and then realizing she prefers orange juice.
Yeah, and then she's drinking soda and she's complaining about the.
That's another bit later on.
Yeah, okay.
Like because soda is so spicy.
Yeah.
I know some people can't handle the carbonation. I know that you don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
But so it's kind of interesting because I think that scene kind of took place out of order.
Yeah.
Because when they knock over the trash can.
Yeah, the soda skit that they're in, the trash can's half full. It has like 3 or 4 cans in it.
Yeah. Well, or it could have been like I was just thinking that because they have the can throwing competition and all the cans are in there, it could have been that she knocked it over and that's why the cans are everywhere for them to go ahead and use the cans for the can throwing competition.
I honestly thought it was out of order.
I thought it was out of order as well, but now that I think about it, that it makes sense that's why it would be that.
It doesn't make sense as to why the cans made it to the other side of the street though. Because I think she would just pick it up and fix the
she does seem to have that personality, and I know that most Japanese people would do that just because they have the sense of community and stuff. But it's also it could be possible that they were just embarrassed and ran off. But anyway, and then there was obviously time passage that happened between then. But he gets himself a can of apple juice.
Yes,
and he's drinking it.
But that was just it. Is that there was the reason I think there was a time skip is that the one can that fell out was the can of apple juice.
Okay, it could be.
And
that.
then cut to he bought a can of apple juice, so it implied a time skip between the two.
Yeah, it's weird. Anyway, he's drinking this can of apple juice, and then Takagi comes in, and she says, "Oh, that's that new flavor that's supposed to be really delicious. How is it?" And he's like, "Oh, it's pretty good. Oh, can I have some?" Sure. And he hands it over to her, and he's like,
just before she's about to take a sip,
he's like, "Oh, so you know that like." Are you okay with having an indirect kiss with me? Which I think is the silliest thing ever. Like, I don't think I know a single... Like, in America, we're more worried about sharing germs. But apparently in Japan these days, everybody's worried about having indirect kisses.
There was a thing about that in Angelic Layer. Back in the day, one of the episodes, there was a guy and a girl who were best friends, and they drink out of the same soda can without thinking about it once. But... at some point, they realize they have feelings for each other, and they start dating. And then the things that they used to be able to do comfortably, they are now a bit embarrassed about doing because they have feelings for each other. And one of them was sharing a can because it was like an indirect kiss. So this is... I don't know if Japanese culture does this, but they do it a lot in anime. The idea of the indirect kiss by sharing a can.
Could be. But and she's just like... She just looks at it and goes, and just takes a drink. And she's just like, oh, that was real tasty.
More than... She asked for a sip, and when he mentioned the indirect kiss, she starts chugging.
And then
like,
she...
Oh!
She hands the can back, and then he's looking down on it, and now he's got the mental image of an indirect kiss. And then she's just like, what? Are you worried about having an indirect kiss with me? And he's like, no, not at all. And he's about to drink it, but he can't do it.
And he drops it.
He drops it. And then he picks it up and he throws the can and just like with kind of a neat swoosh, it goes into the basket. And
it goes into an empty trash
goes
can.
into an empty trash can.
That was across the street.
Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, that was cool. Can you do it again? And he does. And he's like, wow, I guess I have a talent for this. This is great.
And then she tries, well, here, that looks fun. Let me try. And she... Oh...
Throws one, and it goes a couple of feet. Tink, tink, tink.
Yeah,
and he starts...
It stops at least 5 feet away from the can.
Mm-hmm. And he starts teasing her because of it. And she's like, okay, how about this? Let's have a competition.
At the moment she said that, I knew he was being hustled.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
The moment she said that. It's like she has complete control of the situation, and she literally just hustled him. She literally... made it look like she was bad at what she was doing.
And he says, okay, if you win, I will do whatever you want me to do. And okay, and so she throws it, and there's just this amazing animation of just her chucking it, and it being the perfect arc, and then nothing but net. Doesn't touch the sides or anything. Just lands right in the middle,
dead center of the can. Like that's like a bullseye on a dartboard. You knew exactly what you were doing. That's just not even fair.
And then he's like, okay, it's up to you. And then he starts, it's your turn. And he starts getting nervous and starts thinking, he starts overthinking things. He's like, okay, just let's do it like I did it before. It's totally fine. And as he's about to throw the can, she says, hey, if you win, how about I give you my first kiss?
As the can's leaving his hands.
And the can only goes a couple of feet. And I just thought to myself, you dirty, dirty girl, you. It reminded me of the scene in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Yes.
Where Robin is trying to show off to Marion how good he is with the bow.
Yes.
And he's already done a couple of amazing shots for her. And everybody, like, he goes to draw his bow, and all the merry men just start making noise, whooping, hollering, coughing, and things like that. And he focuses to tune them out. And then she leans up and blows in his ear right as he's about to let go.
Yes.
And the shot just goes wild.
Yes, it does. Even wild. Well, I remember that scene, and what was happening is that the young boy, the eldest son of Little John, was trying to aim when he sticks the knock of his arrow into his ear to distract him. Says, in battle, you never know what distractions are going to come at you, so you have to be prepared for anything. As part of his education. And that's when she does something that would never happen in a battle anyway.
What about you? That's right, yeah.
And that's what happens in that scene. And, and she's just so... Because the boy misses a little bit, and he misses so hard. It was just beautiful.
It's a great scene. But I just thought to myself...
That's exactly what happened here.
She had complete control of the situation, and she knew it.
Yeah.
And on their way home, or as they're going along, she's like, "Oh, I actually don't want anything from you," type thing, you know.
Oh, but if you don't do that, then I'll never. If you do that, then how will I ever win? Why would I ever want you to win?
Yeah, why would I ever want you to win? Type thing, you know. Anyway, so we then have I think that's it for episode
episode 2, yeah.
And episode 3, we have, once again, the girls.
Yes, we have the girls in a little sketch called Dubbing, which what we see is a white cat and a black cat being cats in an alley, and the girls are pretending to be guys, pretending to be the cats, and doing the voices for what they're... What's going on for them. And it just reminded me of Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yukari wants nothing to do with this. She's like, can we just go home? But
you're annoying me. You're using a very specific kind of accent that's really annoying.
Mina and Sanae. It's actually Osaka.
It's an Osaka accent.
It's Osaka dialect that she's using. Nice little throwback there.
So what I know about Osaka dialect is that it's allegedly it's stereotypically in Japan considered to be less intelligent.
It's like a hick accent.
So when they do dubs of that, it's either a hick or a thug, and so they'll when they do English dubs of an Osakan accent, they'll either give it Southern or they'll make it Brooklyn, Bronx. accents.
Yeah.
Depending on whether or not the person is supposed to be either not all there or a bit rough around the edges.
Osaka, she's got a southern accent.
They put her, they give her a southern accent in the anime.
Anyway, so, and then the girls, like, they're having like this tragic romance between the white cat and the black cat, and then the both cats flop over, and then one of them's just like, oh,
sprawl out over the ground with their heads away from the girls.
Their heads away from the girls and their legs high, just like cats do. It's the belly rub position.
The belly rub position.
And then Yukari's just like, oh, they're both men.
And so
the two other girls instantly switch into it being a Yakuza and his bro.
Yeah, because the story that they were playing was that one might work may keep him out late, so he'll go ahead and grab something with his friend and not eat dinner at home with his wife. It's like, well, it's good that you have friends and it's good that you're eating, but you should eat at home once in a while, dear. It's like, oh, they're both boys. My bro, or something like that.
Something like that. Ah! And then,
then one or two other things. No, is the dubbing the second to last skit in episode 3?
I don't. There's the exercising bit where she teases him and he goes home and he does push-ups.
Yes,
he tries to start off with doing 3 push-ups for every insult that she does, and he can't do. And he ends up only being able to do 19 push-ups the first day, even though his goal is 45, because she teased him 15 times.
Yes,
and he was going to do 45 push-ups, but he could only do 19. And then the next day,
she teases him 23 times.
And then the next day, she teases him 34 times, and he doesn't get it. It just gets worse and worse every day. And finally, she's just like, "Oh, hey, you're actually looking like what's going on with your hand? Like what's going on with your hand?" He's like, "Oh, I'm doing strength training. It's just it's because his arms are shaking and stuff, and if anybody's ever done strength training, when when you first start doing it, like your tendons and things start breaking down, as you're building yourself up. But anyway, he doesn't say why he's doing muscle training, but she says, "Oh, well, you're actually looking pretty muscular now. That's pretty great. You look good, you know." And he just don't give up after only 3 days, you know. And then she's teased him 45 times that day, and then the next day it was like 50 something times, and he's trying to keep track of what's actually a tease and what isn't. And they're walking home they're walking home. And do you remember what she says? I don't exactly remember what she says.
She's actually starting to look. He's looking good.
Yeah, he's looking good.
A bit muscular.
He's looking good and starting to look muscular. And he says to himself, even if she doesn't tease me, I think I'm gonna go ahead and just keep working out. So, anyways, and then we have the rain.
And then he starts doing 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and a 10K run a day.
And he goes bald. Anyway, we have the rain. So there's a rainstorm that hits on the after school's getting out.
It hits the moment school's getting out, and it turns out that we see the 3 girls, and Mina's complaining about, nobody told me it was going to rain. I didn't bring an umbrella or a raincoat or anything. And says, well, maybe you can take a bus. I don't have money for a bus either. And they just go off, and that's when and so they leave, and it cuts back to Takagi-san and Nishitaka, and Takagi-san.
She didn't bring an umbrella.
Yeah, she confesses she didn't bring an umbrella either.
And Nishikata takes advantage of it, calling her a ditz and an airhead. And she just kind of looks up at him, and he's immediately regretful for having said those things. Like, maybe I was a bit too harsh. Maybe that was really mean of me. And she's like, wait, you have a large umbrella, don't you?
She knew. She knew. She obviously knew.
Yeah, she knew.
And so the two of them start walking together under the umbrella, and a little ways into the sketch we find out that his shoulder's getting wet because he's making sure she stays dry, and he doesn't care too much about himself, which is very gentlemanly of him. But it reminded me of the exact opposite thing happening in Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun, where Sakura is walking under Nozaki-kun's umbrella, and his umbrella's too small, and it's pouring. It's accumulating and dripping directly onto the center of Sakura's head.
Poor girl.
And
That poor girl. I'm your number one fan. Instead of saying I love you.
yeah. So what did you do when you told him you loved him? He gave me his autograph. Dump him.
Dump him. Anyway, so she's like, he's like, you're actually pretty forgetful, aren't you? You know? And she's like, yeah, actually, yeah, I am. I'm kind of an airhead. I'm pretty forgetful. Like there's this word, and I'm trying to remember what the word is, but for the life of me, I can't remember what it is. But it's when two people are walking underneath an umbrella together. And to give you a little background, those of you who aren't aware of this, we've talked about this before on our shows. If you've listened to us for a while, you may have heard us talk about it. But two people walking underneath an umbrella is considered a very romantic thing. Like, when I was younger, in America, what we do is we draw a heart and then two names and an arrow through it. Cupid's arrow through the heart. When we're teasing two people for being in love.
Yeah.
In Japan, what they do is they draw, and it's a very, very rough drawing, but I thought it was an arrow as well when I was younger. Probably because a 4Kids dub or something drew like tassels at the end of it or something. But it's a triangle with a line and then the two names underneath it. That's the umbrella of love. So it's a very, very romantic thing for a couple to be sharing an umbrella together.
Yes, and something that they did actually was when they introduced this segment of the show, the episode fraction is called Umbrella, and they actually showed that diagram.
Yep.
With names.
They showed the umbrella of love. Yep. And she's pushing him to say the phrase, which is Aigawa or Aigasa. I forget what it was. But I looked it up, and it just translates into two people sharing an umbrella. But Aigawa. And finally he says it. She's like, "Oh yeah, that's the word, wasn't it?" But there's another word that I'm really, really struggling with that I just can't seem to remember. What is it? It's it's when you like someone, but it's the next step. It's beyond saying "I like you."
Yeah.
What is it?
But just before that, she also gets him to say the word "kiss."
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then she's trying to get him to say the word
"love." What happens when two
English.
people who like each other, they press their lips together? What's that word? I don't remember. And he's just like, "Kiss." What was that? What was that? It's I can't hear you over the rain. The rain is letting up. What was that though? Kiss. Fine, it's kiss. But before that though, when his arm is getting soaked, she's like, "Look, I'll just move closer to you."
And she leans into him, and she leans into him so hard that you think that she might knock him over. But it's
But it's like, "Look, I'll just get closer to you, so that way you can go ahead and remain dry." And then boom, she gets closer to him. Type thing.
Shoulder to shoulder, direct touching, and his heart starts pounding.
And he's like, "My heart will not stop pounding. It is so loud." And then she's just like, "But there's that phrase that I can't remember what it is. Like, I'm such an airhead. I keep forgetting these things."
It starts with an ah.
It's ah.
And then an e.
There's an e. It's like, I don't remember what it is. I think it starts with an ah, and she's trying to get him to say "I love you."
Yes.
You know, and but he refuses. He's like, "Well, okay. What about in English? Okay."
Starts with an I.
It's an I, and the last word is you.
And it starts with a lo. What's the next letter?
But yeah, it's she is merciless in trying to get him to confess his love for her.
Fortunately, the gods of the story plot allowed the rain to let up, and now he can put his umbrella away.
Put his umbrella away, yep.
And at that point, they're at his place, and he's about to go in, when she says, "I forgot how to get home from here."
He's like, "I forgot how to get home from here," and he's just like, "No."
Yes.
Real fast. I went ahead and I looked at some of the episode outlines for the next several episodes, and one of them, it's summer break is about to start, and he's very much looking forward to summer break, but she's actually looking pretty depressed and upset about it.
Because there'll be a whole series of months where they don't get to see each other?
Well, it's only 40 days in Japan. Okay. Summer break is only 40 days. And then somehow he agrees to practice. There's a phrase for it. I forget what it's called, but it's when two people ride the same bicycle.
They call it tandem.
I think it's like tandem riding is what it's like until he agrees to practice tandem riding with her. Then suddenly she looks a lot happier. And he's worried what's coming.
Yes.
But anyways, I like this show.
It took me a while to get into it, to be honest. The teasing and the awkwardness, I didn't like her at first.
Okay.
But I started to like her more and more as time went on.
Okay.
But I'll be honest, the first episode, I wasn't too keen on watching more of it. I'm glad that I watched 3 instead of just 1.
See, her teasing is much, much more lighthearted than the teasing of Nagatoro. It's "Don't tease me, Nagatoro-kun." And she is in that one. She's a freshman. He's a sophomore. Or like she's a first year. He's a second year, and she is merciless in her teasing. It's obvious that she likes him. But she will tease him relentlessly and cruelly. Whereas the teasing for Takagi-san is much more lighthearted than it is for Nagatoro.
Okay.
That said, Nagataro's apparent, like I read there's the webcomic and then there's the actual manga. And the manga, like she's awful in the webcomic. Whereas in the manga, it becomes very, very clear that she likes him. And this is her way of staking her territory.
Oh.
Because she actually defends him against other girls who try to tease him in the exact same way. So
nice.
Yeah. It took me a little bit to get past the mercilessness of her teasing, but I read the webcomic first and I was like, this is awful. And then I learned about the manga and heard that the manga's better, and so then I read the manga, and yeah, it's a lot better. But anyway, I really liked it. I really, really enjoyed this show. Like I said, I was I don't want to say I'm used to worse teasing. That sounds awful, but I know about worse teasing in manga.
Right. No, yeah, it exists.
Anyway, so that's it for last week or this week's episode. What are we going to be watching for next week?
Well, I've been keeping an eye out. Like we said during the news segment, that there is it's the new series, it's the new season, and a lot of new shows are coming out, and some of them have 3 or 4 episodes now. And so next week, I want us to review The Rising of the Shield Hero. Verve.co had the following synopsis. Iwatani Naofumi, a run-of-the-mill otaku, finds a book in the library that summons him to another world. He is tasked with joining the Sword, Spear, and Bow as one of the 4 cardinal heroes and fighting the waves of catastrophe as the shield hero. Excited by the prospect of a grand adventure, Naofumi sets off with his party. However, merely a few days later, he is betrayed and loses all of his money, dignity, and respect. Unable to trust anyone anymore, he employs a slave named Raftalia and takes on the waves and the world. But will he find a way to overturn this desperate situation? Okay.
All right. Well, okay, so we're going to go ahead and watch the first 3 episodes of that for next week. And now we're done with 3 episodes in, and it's time for a recommendation of the week, and it's my turn. And this week, I'm going to recommend Kingdom Hearts 3.
Because of course you are.
Because of course I am. Came out on Tuesday. I have put in a good number of hours into it so far. It is completely delightful. It is just as silly and nonsensical as Kingdom Hearts has always been. But I'm going to go ahead and just say right here, right now, people are not Kingdom Hearts fans because of the story. Any Kingdom Hearts fan will tell you that the story is nonsense and doesn't matter. Okay?
No.
Kingdom Hearts is about adventuring and having heartfelt moments with Disney characters.
No, yeah. People love Kingdom Hearts for the same reason that I love Tsubasa.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, it's a romp through alternate reality versions of people that you already know.
And I've already gone through, there's the world with Hercules, and then I've been through Tangled, Toy Story, and what else? Tangled, Toy Story. I mean, there's Twilight Town, which is from Kingdom Hearts 2, and now I am in the world of Monsters, Inc.
Nice.
So, yeah. Yeah. So, anyway, it's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it. It's, this time each Keyblade has its own unique set of abilities. So it's not just like plus or minus magic and strength. It's when you do enough damage with this Keyblade, like say the Keyblade you get from Hercules' world, you do enough damage with it, or you do enough consecutive attacks with it, and you unlock a retaliation shield or something along those lines. Where if you block it perfectly. If you block an enemy's attack, you then get a punch, and the shield turns into a giant fist and punches enemies. And then at the end of it, you get a final move.
Nice.
Another Kingdom Hearts sword. It turns into, or another Keyblade turns into a pair of twin crossbows, and you're flying along shooting magical bolts at enemies.
Nice.
It's ridiculous, and it's loads of fun. So yeah, I recommend Kingdom Hearts 3.
Okay. And that brings us to our next segment, which is the creator shout-out. And this week, I'm giving a creator shout-out to Overly Sarcastic Productions.
Yay!
Now, I stumbled across their stuff on YouTube, and they have a number of shorts and series that are just absolutely delightful.
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic.
Brian Blessed.
Yes. I shared with you their review of, or their synopsis of
Much
Ado About Nothing, and every time that they bring up Brian Blessed, they shout his name.
There's actually two times or so where she doesn't shout his name.
Yes.
Which is sad, because it should be a lot of that's how you say his name.
Yeah.
Brian Blessed!
Once upon a time, there was a BrianBlessed.com where the entire thing was a poorly made bibliography of his life work in all caps.
Wow.
The entire site. Brian Blessed in all caps.
I am Brian Blessed!
Yes.
I don't think he can speak quieter than that. I don't think it's possible.
He cannot. But I really liked their review of Macbeth and Titus Andronicus, and their entire line of Shakespeare stuff is great. I've been getting involved in their line of storytelling tropes and some of their ancient Greek mythology stories, and they have this great bit that I hope that she finishes it. They've got a 6-part. So right at the moment, they have a 6-parter of the actual original story of the Monkey King and
The Journey West.
The Journey West.
Cool.
Yeah. And it's just fantastic.
Okay.
Seeing all these characters and where they come from, and just exactly where Akira Toriyama borrowed from to make the original Dragon Ball.
Cool.
But yeah, we'll go ahead and link you out to their Twitter, YouTube, and Patreon accounts from our website at whittakerweekly.com.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks so much for listening in this week. If you listened on YouTube, please feel free to like this episode and subscribe to our channel. If you like what we do and want to support us, please spread the word of our podcast, or even support us on Patreon. Where can they find us on social media?
Our site, whittakerweekly.com, currently has the links to our Facebook page, Twitter account, Patreon page, and YouTube channel. We encourage all our listeners to follow us on the social media platform of their preference, and if there's one we're not on yet, please reach out to us on one of the ones we've mentioned, and we'll broaden our scope to include you.
All right. Well, I want to give a shout out to Ben Coombs for providing the artwork for our podcast and website.
And another shout out to Brasmataz for the music Drykolk, which we use for our opening and closers.
All right. Well, that's it for another episode. I've been Andrew.
I've been Lee.
And this has been Whittaker Weekly. You guys have a great week.